I, 31M, have been dating this woman, let's call her Sophia, 29F, for about 8 months. She's stunning, smart, and honestly way out of my league. The kind of person who walks into a room and everyone notices. When we first met, I couldn't believe she was even interested in me. I'm not poor, but I'm not rich either. Solid job in IT, own a modest apartment, live pretty comfortably, but nothing flashy. Sophia, on the other hand, grew up wealthy. Designer clothes, fancy vacations, 5-star dinners. Her world has always been shinier than mine. Up until recently, I thought that didn't matter. She told me she liked me because I was grounded, different from the guys she usually dated. And for a while, I believed her. But then came the car incident. I had just bought a used Lexus. It wasn't brand new, but it was in great condition, leather seats, clean interior, shiny black paint. A big step up from the beat-up Honda I'd been driving for years. Honestly, I was proud of myself. So when I went to pick her up for dinner one night, I pulled up in the Lexus, excited to show her. She walked out of her apartment, heels clicking, hair perfect as always. She reached for the passenger door, then stopped. She tilted her head, looked at the car, then at me, and said, "Is this a rental? Because if it is, I'm not getting in." I laughed at first because I thought she was joking. But her face was deadly serious. That single question. It hit me like a punch to the gut. When Sophia asked me if the car was a rental, I froze. "No, it's mine," I said, a little defensive. "Why would it be a rental?" She shrugged, completely unbothered. "Because you never mentioned buying a new car. And honestly, most guys rent fancy ones to impress girls." That stung. Not because she was totally wrong, I know people who've done that, but because she thought I'd be the type. I told her I'd been saving up for years, that this was a big step for me, and that I was proud of finally upgrading. She gave me this little smirk and said, "Well, it's nice. Just don't pretend it's a Bentley." That was the first red flag I really noticed. The dismissive tone, the way she couldn't just be happy for me. But I pushed it down. I told myself she was joking. Dinner that night was awkward. She spent half the time scrolling on her phone, barely listening when I talked about work. Normally, I'd call her out, but I stayed quiet. I didn't want to start a fight over something small. But after that night, I couldn't shake it. I kept replaying the question in my head, is this a rental? Like my achievements weren't real, like I was some fraud trying to impress her. And once that seed was planted, I started noticing more. There were little digs about my apartment. "It's cute," she'd say, in that tone that made it sound like tiny. Or comments about how she missed traveling first class. And the biggest? She hated that I budgeted. If I said no to a $300 dinner because it wasn't in my plan for the month, she'd pout, roll her eyes, and act like I was cheap. Still, I told myself, she's just used to a different lifestyle. She'll adjust. But then something happened that proved she wasn't adjusting at all. A couple of weeks after the rental comment, Sophia invited me to one of her friends' birthday parties. These weren't the kind of parties I usually went to, rooftop lounge, champagne everywhere, everyone dressed like they just walked off a runway. I showed up in my best suit, not designer, but it fit well, and the second I walked in, I felt out of place. Everyone seemed to know each other, and I stuck close to Sophia like a lifeline. At first, things were fine. We got drinks, mingled a little. But then she drifted off to talk to a group of her friends, and I overheard something that made my stomach drop. One of her friends glanced at me and asked, "So, is he the one with the rental Lexus?" Everyone laughed. Including Sophia. She didn't correct them. She didn't defend me. She just smirked and said, "Well, let's just say he's trying." Trying. That word felt like a knife. I wanted to disappear. Instead, I stood there, smiled like it didn't bother me, and let the conversation move on. But inside? I was boiling. On the drive home, I finally confronted her. Why would you let your friends think I rented the car? Why make me the punchline? She rolled her eyes. Oh my God, are you really that sensitive? It was a joke. They don't care. I clenched the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. But I care, I said. Do you realize how disrespectful that was? She shrugged. If you can't handle a little teasing, maybe you're not cut out for my world. That sentence, it echoed in my head the whole night. Her world. Like we were living in two completely different realities. And then came the night that forced me to see the truth about us. A month after the party, Sophia invited me to her parents' house for Sunday dinner. She said it would be casual, nothing fancy, just meet the family. Naturally, I assumed it would be polite, normal conversation. I was wrong. Her parents live in one of those massive, perfect houses that looks like it belongs in a magazine. Marble floors, wine cellar, an infinity pool that glints in the sun. I felt completely out of place the moment I walked in. The conversation started fine. Her mom asked about my job, her dad about my hobbies. But as soon as the topic of cars came up, I knew I was in trouble. So, Sophia tells us you've got a Lexus, her dad asked. I nodded, proud to show I'd worked hard for it. Her mom tilted her head, glanced at Sophia, then back at me. Oh, is it new? I answered honestly, it's used, but in great condition. Her mom's smile froze. Her dad raised an eyebrow. Sophia didn't speak. You don't drive a rental, do you? Her mom asked. I felt my face burn. My chest tightened. I opened my mouth to explain, but Sophia interrupted, laughing. Of course not. He's just being modest. But her laugh didn't feel warm. It felt mocking. The rest of dinner was a blur. Every compliment she threw at me felt like a jab. Every joke her parents made, real or not, landed like a hammer. By the time dessert arrived, I realized something terrifying. Sophia didn't respect me. Not in front of her friends, not in front of her family, not even in private. I left that night feeling smaller than I had in years. After that dinner, I started noticing patterns I had ignored. Every small achievement I had was met with a smirk or a sarcastic comment. My opinions were dismissed as cute or funny rather than valid. She constantly tested my confidence, in front of others, on purpose. And it hit me, this wasn't about the car, or the party, or even her friends. This was about her control. She wanted to feel superior, and I was the target. It was a Friday night. I had invited Sophia over to my apartment for dinner, something casual, homemade, no expectations. I thought maybe a quiet evening could help reset things. She arrived, smiling, dressed to impress as always. I opened the door, and instantly I noticed the tension in her posture. She looked around my modest apartment and raised an eyebrow. Cute place, but it's definitely cozy, she said. I forced a smile. Thanks, it's home. We sat down to eat. I tried to make conversation, ask about her day. But she was distant. Checking her phone, sighing, making offhand comments about the layout of my kitchen or the vintage furniture. And then I snapped. You know what, Sophia? I've had enough, I said, my voice shaking. I can't keep bending over backwards to impress you, just to get sarcasm and judgment in return. I bought that car myself. I work hard. I do my best. And apparently, that's never enough for you. She looked at me, stunned, then laughed. Oh wow. You're really dramatic, huh? I'm not trying to impress me. I'm just being real. Maybe you're just too sensitive. Too sensitive? I shouted. I've been bending over backwards, pretending everything's fine, while you make me feel like I'm some joke for your friends and family. This isn't me being sensitive. This is you disrespecting me, constantly. The silence afterward was deafening. Her eyes narrowed, lips pressed tight. Maybe I just expected more from someone I'm dating, she said quietly. Maybe I thought you'd measure up. That was it. That sentence hit harder than anything. Measure up. Not love me or respect me, measure up. I realized in that instant that this wasn't about love, or fun, or compatibility. It was about control. It was about her needing someone to make her look good, someone she could dominate, someone she could always outshine. I stood up, walked to the door. You know what, Sophia? If this is how you see me, maybe we shouldn't be together at all. She didn't even try to stop me. I left that night, feeling lighter than I had in months. Scared, yes, but also free. Free from the constant judgment, the little digs, the subtle emotional manipulation. Free from trying to be someone I wasn't just to earn approval. In the weeks that followed, I reflected on everything: the car, the parties, the dinners, the jokes, the digs. I realized how easy it is to get caught up in someone else's world and forget your own value. I had almost lost myself trying to be good enough for someone who never respected me in the first place. And now? I drive my Lexus proudly. I decorate my apartment how I like. I spend time with friends who respect me. And yes, I date again, carefully, cautiously, but with a clear understanding that respect is not optional. Sometimes, I think about Sophia. Sometimes I wonder if she ever realized what she lost. But honestly, I don't need to know. Because I got myself back. The end.